So in this video, we're going to be talking about some serious red flags from the Knicks so far through the first 4 games of the season. Now, I do want to note that the Knicks did start off 6-6 last year, and they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. They won over 50 games. So obviously, this team is going to improve and turn things around. But I do think that there's some serious concerns with the Knicks. And to me, where it starts is Karl Anthony Towns. When you look at the Knicks, they've got a superstar. They've got a top 10, in my biased opinion, a top 5 player in Jalen Brunson. But the problem with him and Cat is that they're both not the best defenders. They were bottom 5 at their positions last year. Now, Brunson, he's good at taking charges. He's very crafty. We know he can get steals. But he's a smaller guy, and he has to put all his offense into offense. And then you pair him with Cat. Well, if Cat's shot isn't on, then he's very, very unplayable. Like the Knicks, you can make an argument that with Isaiah Hartenstein, he was a better fit to play with Brunson because he set good screens. He got every single rebound. He's a very good defender. He's a very good passer, just like Cat. Like Hartenstein and Devo were amazing on this team with Brunson. And had that Knicks team been healthy, they would have gone to the Eastern Conference Finals. They probably still would have lost to Boston. It would have been a close series. But like I really like that team. And then the Knicks end up making moves and they bring in Cat. And like sure, they got better. They made it a round farther. Cat was all NBA. But against the Pacers, Cat did have a miraculous game 3, but there's just too many inconsistencies. And then last night, he gets clamped up by Kyle Kuzma. And then you take Josh Hart, and you put Hart out there with Cat, and they end up being a -11 in the second half alone. They were outscored by 14 points in total. Like, these guys can't play together. And when you're without some bodies, right? Like, you don't have Yabusele, you don't have Mitch, you don't have Deuce. Hart's going to have to play with Cat, and they can't play together because all teams are going to do is put the big man on Hart and dare him to shoot, which he can't shoot, and he has a splint on his finger, which means he can't shoot even more. And then they're going to take a Kuzma, for example, and put him on Cat. And I'm not saying Cat's soft because I don't think he's soft by any means. But then you start to look at some of these tapes and you're like, what the hell is this? Like, go back and look at the tape. I record every single Knicks game when I watch them, so that way I have 2 monitors of the game, so like one's delayed so I can go back and see a play, and then the next day I go through it, and it's pretty sad. Like, it's pretty pathetic from what Cat did. And I didn't see the Heat game because I was in Austin, Texas, but from what I've heard, Cat was also very bad in that game. Like, Jalen Brunson has to score 40 points for the Knicks to even have a chance to win, and then like outside of Brunson, it's kind of what can you get? Like Mikhail has stepped up, had a good game. Landry Shamet had a good game, but Brunson and Cat have to go off. It seems like to beat these good teams, and the Bucks are a good team. They're not a great team, but they're a good playoff team. Like they're going to be tough to stop. And Giannis went absolutely off. He attacked the basket. Without Mitch, there's no rim protection. Deuce is your best probably point attack defender. Yabusele, we know he brings, like, he's supposed to be a big-time bench piece. So there's just a lot of concerns with the Knicks, and it's going to be up to Mike Brown to be able to make this work because I wasn't the biggest fan of Tibbs, but he had a very high floor, which meant that the Knicks were going to win a lot of games. They were going to compete, but I don't think they were ever going to win a championship. But with Mike Brown coming in, he has to replace that because you're looking for the ceiling. It's championship or bust. So Brown doesn't at least get the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals. This is going to be a disappointment. And I think he's starting to realize that, hey, look, the Knicks have a lot more flaws than he probably originally thought. Like, there's a reason why, this team lost to Indiana. I mean, Tibbs was a reason, but also the roster construction. The question is it going to be good enough? The defense, I mean, it was very good in the first half, but then in the second half, they gave up a bunch of open threes. He did a poor job defending the rim. Giannis got what he wanted to a will. Ryan Rollins, I hadn't even heard of him. Maybe I'm just a casual, but I think he had 24 last night, all 4 from 3. I think he was like just picked in 40th pick or something like that. Like there's just no reason that should ever be happening. And the reason why the Knicks defense was so bad in the second half is because they didn't move the ball and they were stagnant. And this is coming from Mike Brown, by the way. I know a lot of you guys are like, how do you know this? You're not in the NBA. Because I listened to Mike Brown after the game and I piece it together in my videos. If you've ever played basketball, you don't have to be in the NBA. You kind of know that if you don't touch the ball, it's very hard for you to get anything else going, including your defense, right? That's why they say, hey, look, you get a 3 to go, and all of a sudden on defense, you're working hard and you're creating a turnover and you're getting out in transition. It's the same thing with these NBA guys is they're going to play through each side of the ball. And if the offense isn't able to do anything and they're turning it over, they're not getting good shots off, they're missing everything, like how do you expect the defense to lock in? Like it's very rare in the NBA that a team is able to just not score and then put together stop after stop. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, you look at the Knicks against the Celtics, for example, they kept putting together stops and then they scored, and then it just sort of rallied the defense, and the defense got even better, and then all of a sudden a 20-point deficit was cut into, 5 or whatever. Like, now it's a 5-point game, and then the Knicks end up taking the lead and they winning. And once it's a close game, Jalen Brunson is going to take over. And last night, Brunson had a very, very slow start to that second half. I think his first field goal was like, 4 minutes or something like that at the top of my head remaining. He had a couple of free throws, but like that's just not going to get it done. Like, the Knicks need Brunson to score a lot of points and to facilitate and to be on from them to win. And Cat clearly looks lost in the scheme, looks discombobulated. And when he was asked about it before the season even started, about his role and his fit, he said he didn't even know. And that's very concerning to me as well. I mean, like, I don't know the full story, obviously. I'm not in that locker room. I haven't spoken to Cat. But there's nothing good at all about him saying that too. Like, the Knicks, they're going to have to step up and they're going to have to figure out how to utilize these guys. And, in the offseason, I talked about getting Kevin Durant. For those of you that don't know, Kevin Durant wanted to be in New York. The Knicks just didn't want KD, and the reason they didn't want KD is because if they traded for KD, they wouldn't have been able to get Giannis, and the Knicks and Bucks did speak about Giannis. But the thing about that is, the Knicks aren't going to get Giannis because Cat, who are they getting? Cat and Tyler Kolek? Like, that's laughable. That's freaking ridiculous. So, Kevin Durant, and I said this again, like, the Knicks should have swapped Cat for him, and a lot of people, especially people that I know inside of the Knicks organization, they didn't want Durant because of his age, and also he needed that extension, which ended up, he did take like a $30 million pay cut. But the thing about Kevin Durant is that he can get a bucket at any single given time, whereas Cat can't. Like, Durant is averaging 30 a night, and even though he just turned 37, we know that his defense is significantly better than Cat's. Durant can play defense. I mean, maybe his on-ball defense isn't amazing, but his rim protection, his help defense is pretty good, and he can hold his own. But Cat's just a liability. Like, Cat's a flat-out liability. Like, there's really not much good that Cat does defensively. Like, he's almost unplayable at times. And call me crazy, I legitimately think the Knicks with Hartenstein and Devo would have been able to beat this team. Like, this, I know people said, "Oh, this team has a higher ceiling," but does it? Does it really? Like, when the Knicks are in a 7-game series, like, teams are just gonna be able to scheme up something, and they're just gonna put Cat into pick and rolls, and they're gonna pick up Brunson full court and blitz him. And the Knicks, they've been playing Tyler Kolek. I'll give them credit for that, but is Tyler Kolek gonna be enough to help Brunson? Like, Jordan Clarkson. Maybe he's going to get more playmaking duties. Deuce is going to get more playmaking duties, maybe even hard at the one at times. But right now, there's just a lot of flaws about this Knicks team. And hopefully, a couple of the weeks, my opinion will change. But I think this team is basically the same as last year, just with Jordan Clarkson. Like, that's legitimately how it feels. And yeah, let me know if you guys agree with me, if you disagree with me. I'm not saying that I'm giving up on the season. Like, I do think that the Knicks absolutely are going to compete and they're going to fight. But, man, I mean, they've got a long ways to go. But, hey, man, last season, slow start, and look what happened, too. But, again, the Knicks still fell short at the end of the day. Everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, they were 6-6. But, yeah, but, like, why does it matter if the result's still the same? Like, the Knicks could win 60 games, but if they get exploited in the playoffs, like, what good does it really do? So this is why I'm not, like, the biggest fan of the whole Cat Brunson thing. Like, I think Brunson and Durant would have been a lot better. Obviously, Brunson and Giannis would be the best case scenario. But, again, with that Mikal trade, the Knicks can't get Giannis. Like, if they hadn't traded for Mikal, they would have absolutely probably got Giannis. They would have had so many picks and assets